Hey, welcome back to my channel, and on today's video we're going to be talking all things the glucose revolution diet. So what is it, does it work, and would I recommend it to anyone looking to improve their health or indeed lose weight? My name is Emma. If you are new here, we talk about all things about health and wellness. You've got workout videos, so if that is something that you might enjoy, make sure that you hit on the like and subscribe button so that you do not miss a video. This review is going to be my honest opinion. I tried this out as a health coach. I wanted to be able to give like a really objective view of whether it works or not, whether it is worth giving it a try. And just a little bit of background about me. I am someone who is approaching the age of 40, approaching, not sure, maybe perimenopausal. I've always been into health and wellness, but over the last few years, I've definitely increased a little bit of weight, and I have always been someone who has have to manage my sugar cravings. I have got the sweetest tooth in the world. So when this book came out, and it is titled Lose Weight, Stop Cravings, Get Your Energy Back, The Life-Changing Power of Balancing Your Blood Sugar, I thought I have to delve into this to find out if it worked and if it's going to help me get a hold of my sugar cravings and balance out my blood sugar levels so that I can feel in better balance with my body. So are they hacks that are going to be supportive to your body, or are they just another diet fad BS that we really don't need more of? And actually, her book has got a little bit of backlash off one very prominent social famous PT, James Smith, who I actually have a lot of respect for. I do love his no BS attitude, but I did find that when I saw this post that I thought it was a little bit bashing on it.
This is how eating disorders begin.
Eat your food in the right order. So anybody listening, if you're about to have a meal, let's say you have some chicken, some broccoli, and some potatoes. If you eat the elements of this meal in a particular order, you can reduce the glucose spike of the meal by 75%.
I'm not even gonna lie to you, I'm not that much of an expert in glucose spiking. Could be naive, I don't really see the issue with that. Sure, if you're type 1 diabetic. Hold on a second. How does the order in which I eat food influence the energy value of that food? Having a blood glucose spike doesn't give you a fucking Uber surcharge on the amount of calories coming in. It's not like trying to get an Uber when it's raining outside.
The right order is vegetables first, protein and fats second, and start.
Either you've got a fucking mental illness if you're eating your vegetables first. I'd rather be fatter and fucking older. I'd rather die younger and be in worse shape than have to listen to this bullshit. It's a no for me. It's a no. You can take your food ordering and shove it up your fucking ass.
I, being someone who has serious, like, when I eat too much sugar, I get those serious crashes, you know, where you get to the point where you get a little bit shaky. And I'm someone who definitely has to keep my blood sugar in check. So if one simple tool, such as the one that she's talking about in this video, which is to eat your food in order, and as you can see, he goes on to say, I'd rather just be fat than having to eat my food in order. And don't get me wrong, there are definitely times when you don't want to eat your food in order. But if there are times when you're like, you know what, I am just going to have this one simple, and it is simple, hack that is going to help me to manage my blood sugar, then sometimes for some people it might be worth a try. But I think there is this fine balance between hacks that are helpful and those that just lead to some form of disordered eating. I'd like to find a happy medium, because I'm never going to be the person that is going to be all out diet, which is why I'll probably never have the perfect body. But as many women do, we just want to feel better in our skin. We want to be able to maintain a body weight that is healthy, that helps us to function, that allows us to move in the way that we want to. And that's what I like to really focus on with my own clients and with my own body as well. So I'm open to trying different things out before I go and bash it. And it's why I quite like doing reviews like this, so I can try these things out and have like a really objective view of somebody who's been in the health and wellness industry for like over 15 years for what is supportive to your body, but is what is also supportive to your mental health too, as we know that mental health issues have become a huge problem within the modern age of pandemics and social media. It's an important element that we can't overlook just in the name of health. So it's really my intention to give you my interpretation, keeping both of those elements at the forefront of our mind when we're doing any changes to our diet or wanting to improve our health. It should be an all balanced health, not at the detriment to your mental health. So why should we be concerned with balancing our blood sugar? She talks about some of the short-term benefits from improving hunger, cravings, fatigue, lessening menopausal symptoms, which is one that I was quite interested in, reducing migraines, improving sleep, improving your immune system and function, and managing things such as type 2 diabetes. She also goes in to mention some of the more chronic diseases, and I'm quite wary of doing this because I never want to like fearmonger, but like nutrition has such a big impact on our overall health, and often people don't come to realize that until they are faced with illness, and then all they want is their health back. And that's why often when people start to take the nutrition seriously, I'm all about prevention. If you can prevent getting there, then it's a win in my book. So more chronic issues such as acne, eczema, psoriasis, arthritis, Alzheimer's, depression, cancer, gut problems, heart disease, infertility, and PCOS. So all of these are linked to imbalances in blood glucose and also higher consumption of sugar. Keep in mind that whilst I'm going to talk through these hacks and talk about my own experience of it, it is not just about these hacks. And that's kind of what maybe is like the claim behind it, is that if you just do these hacks then everything's going to change, when actually when you read the book, and I do recommend that if you're going to go through this, I got the book and actually listen to the audio book at the same time, so I can listen on Audible and then I can come back and refer to the things within the book. That actually a lot of the dieting practices that she talks about go hand in hand with our basic health habits that we should be starting to work on. And this is why I always get clients to go through my 5-day fix challenge, because it's 5 simple basic habits that really everybody should be doing before they go in on even to any more advanced techniques or even looking at any other diets. Once you've got the basics implemented first, you might find that you're already starting to make some progress. I'll put the link to my 5-day fix down in the description box because it is the perfect place to start if you are just starting out on your health journey. She talks about 10 health hacks to implement into your daily life that are meant to help you balance your blood glucose levels, using her own research and her own experimentation with her own nutrition, which she talks a lot about her backstory as well. So here I'm going to list out the 10 hacks. I'm going to be very quick and literally just list them out. I do highly recommend that you go and get the book. I'll put the link for the book down in the description because she goes into depth on each of the hacks and the science base behind it. So the first one is to eat your foods in order. This is eating your veggies first, then your proteins, then fats, and finishing off with carbohydrates. This is meant to help slow the digestion, but also give this kind of base of mesh at the bottom of the stomach so that your blood glucose levels aren't spiked as quickly because the food doesn't get broken down as quickly when we're going in with our veggies first and foremost. The second one is kind of like the same science behind it, but it's to go with a green starter before all of your meals. Number 3 is to stop counting calories. I can definitely get behind that one. Number 4 is to flatten your breakfast curve, to look at what you are eating as your first meal of the day. And if you are spiking your blood glucose levels first thing in the morning, it's going to have a huge impact on your eating habits and behaviors through the rest of the day, not to mention your energy levels. If you've ever experienced like a 3 p.m. crash in the afternoon where you're just like, oh, and then you need to have some coffee to keep you going, can very much be linked to those glucose spikes and dips. Hack number 5 is to have any type of sugar because the body responds to them all in exactly the same way. So if you want to have a sugar, then go for the sugar. Number 6 is to pick dessert over a sweet snack. Really wanting something sweet, and if you're like, do you know what, I'm going to have this. I'm going to have it at the end of the day after my main meal, and that is going to help you balance out those blood glucose levels. Number 7 is to reach for vinegar before you eat. Sounds like a bit of an odd one, but it's actually a practice that I have done in the past, and having a little bit of apple cider vinegar in water, if you dilute it down, it doesn't taste too bad and actually helps the body in many different ways, but it has shown that managing, again, the blood glucose is one of those. Hack number 8 is to move after you eat. It's really simple. You're just, after you've eaten a meal, get up and move, go for a walk, do the dishes, do some laundry, just move your body, because movement helps you to metabolize any food, because all food gets converted into glucose It's going to help you to manage that spike much better. And it is, if you are going to be snacking, to go savory instead of sweet. And I think this was a big one for me. I have been terrible in the past. Like if there is sweets or chocolates or cookies or anything, I'm going to go for those. Now, going from beyond this and being able to go, okay, if I want a snack, what is something savory that I could have instead? And then finally, number 10 is to put some cloves on your carbs. So if you're going to have simple carbohydrates such as bread, rice cakes, any of those type of carb sources, then to also have them with either fat or protein, or preferably both on, because it's going to help you to feel more satisfied. And again, that satisfaction comes from it fills you up more and it flatlines our blood glucose levels. Over on her Instagram page, she has some great images to show you exactly what that flattened curve looks like with different food choices. My initial thoughts on this, so when I was reading or listening to the book, I really loved her practical approach to this. She talks a lot about having these hacks as like a guideline, but not letting them like determine your entire life. Like you don't have to be ruled by these. If it's convenient and you can be intentional about adding them in as and where, then that can still have an impact. One thing I really did love was how she talks about how if you have like these insatiable cravings that you're like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? Why can't I say no to this food? She really talks about the science behind like why it's not your fault, and it's just having these foods that are so addicted and that we're drawn to, and our bodies are designed to be drawn to sweet stuff, because when we were back in our hunter-gatherer days, sweet food was really sparse. The body has been conditioned to kind of want more of that. Now we've got it in abundance. That's where it's starting to become a problem. So knowing that once you start to manage your blood glucose levels, that you can also manage those cravings. There was one very small thing, or a couple of small things, that didn't really sit right with me. I always work with towards my clients in like saying there's no good or bad food. I hate this like distinction of good and bad, because when you tell yourself that you're bad or the food's bad and that you've eaten this and that, now you have to punish yourself because you've done something really bad and you have to go and work it off or burn it off, and it's like this cycle again. And it's definitely a mindset shift that when you can be like, okay, I'm going to allow myself this and I'm going to thoroughly enjoy it with no guilt involved, then that's when it becomes much easier for us to feel empowered about the food choices that we're making. I really feel we need to stop demonizing food and just labeling it as being in one corner or the other. It's either nutrients for the body that are going to nourish and give the body the things that it needs, but there's going to be other times when eating something just feels good for the soul. And there are those moments, and I think we have to find the balance between both of those. And throughout this, she does a really good job of talking about not having to restrict, which I touched on earlier, that it is a balance, which I love that approach. I never want to be like the all or nothing, that we are so much more than our bodies, but we can still want to improve our health. And for some people, improving your health does mean removing a little bit of weight. We don't have to demonize weight loss either. We can find this balance where all of these elements, where weight loss and health and enjoying our bodies and feeling good about the food that we're eating, can all come together when we harness our mindset around the different diet practices and getting rid of the toxic practices that we've been taught in the past. And talking about toxic practices, hack number 8, the move after you eat hack. I actually love this one, and I've been implementing it myself, and for a lot of it, it's just made me get up off my butt and go and do some housework or something, or if I can save the dog walk for after my main meal, then I'll do that. Not in the winter though, because it's too dark outside after I've eaten my tea. But what she did talk in the book was like, after you move, go and pick up a kettlebell or just go and do 30 squats or something. I think that in itself can lead to some toxic practices. I mean, me objectively, I'm like, no, I'm just going to get up and walk. I'm going to do some housework. But I just feel like that young people who may be looking for the next diet to go into is like, oh my God, I've just eaten something. Now I need to go and do 30 squats to burn that off. Again, it's in that like cycle of burning off what you've done. Whereas no, just movement for your body helps your body to metabolize the food that you've eaten and balance your blood sugar levels so that you don't get a crash afterwards. So there are some like little red flags in here, and they are very minor, but I think with a little bit more intention about these, this book could have been even better. What were my results? So when I did this for 30 days, and I didn't make a huge difference with my diet because I really wanted to see the difference with just adding in the hacks rather than changing my diet and like trying to eat healthier. Like for me, it was adding in the simple hacks to see if it did make a difference to my cravings. The main thing for me, like I said, drinking at the weekend, snacking on sweet stuff is the thing that's like kind of my go-to and my barriers, shall we say, to my own body goals. Jessie says that you shouldn't have to give up any of the foods that you love. So when I was doing this, I really was wanting to apply that I wanted to keep my diet pretty steady as it was, to see if the hacks actually had an impact. So what were my results after trying the hacks for 30 days? Well, I didn't lose any weight. But do you know what? That was actually a win. I'm in a phase where I am potentially perimenopausal, and I was at this stage where I'm just steadily gaining weight, even though my diet and my exercise isn't changing. Obviously, changes that are going on with my body that are not determined by diet, but are still causing me to increase in my weight. So although I didn't lose any weight, I flatlined. I got to the point where I was maintaining my weight far easier. And this is without being perfect. I even went away on holiday whilst I was doing this challenge. So during that 4 days, I didn't really stick to this. I was still a little bit intentional about some of them, but I went on my holiday and I enjoyed it. So over the 30 days, my weight flatlined, which was great for me. I definitely noticed a difference in my cravings. I noticed a lower fluctuation, like if I'd had a weekend where I had been out and had been drinking, that there wasn't as much like water retention, weight gain, like after that period. Would I recommend it? Like, the hacks are pretty straightforward, and I think they can definitely have a place. I must admit, I did get really bored of eating my food in order. I don't always do that. Sometimes I do, but if sometimes I just want to eat it all together, then I will absolutely do that. My favorite hack really is the going savory for your snacks. I find that has made a big difference for me. It stops me from having that up and down, and I find that I have more energy in the afternoons. I've definitely been sleeping that little bit better, as well as implementing these within my no sugar challenge as well. And then the one that I really love the most is getting up and moving after meals. It doesn't have to be huge. You don't have to go and do a full-on workout. You can just get up and move around. And like I said earlier, I'm using it as an excuse to attempt to be a little bit tidier. It doesn't always work, but it's that reminder to get up off my booty and just move around instead of just wanting to slump on the couch after a meal. Someone who struggles with cravings, if you're like me and you've got a real sweet tooth, if you tend to hold weight around your midsection, which can be linked a lot to your glucose levels and blood sugar levels, and implement some of the hacks, take what you can from it. Diet is really never a one size fits all approach. We all have different preferences, things that we like, things that we don't like doing, but I think it can be good to try out new things and to see how it impacts and works for you. You should always approach any new diet with caution, ask yourself questions, and be kind with yourself, especially if you are doing it for the purpose of weight loss. I always like to recommend that we go in with a health first approach. Try things out. If it feels good for you, if it feels easy for you to stick with, then keep on doing it. Like I say, I found some of the hacks that I really enjoyed doing and have made them a regular part of my practice. This essentially is what a successful diet will come down to, is finding the things that just click with you, because when you do that, it becomes just a habit. It becomes part of that thing that you do, and the more that we can expand our knowledge and be able to be open to different elements that may help us, the more success we stand to achieve. So I hope you enjoyed that review of the Glucose Goddess Revolution. If it sounds interesting to you, check out the book or check it out on Audible. I'll put all of the links down in the description. And just remember though, if you are setting out on your health journey, don't even head into stuff like this before you've got the basics in place first. And if you want some help with those basics, check out the link to my 5-day fix, where I walk you through them one step at a time so that you can get those in place before you start trying to overwhelm yourself and adding in more advanced techniques. If you're here to the end, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.